God. I'm going to begin by reading from my last book, An Alphabet for Alina, which was a collaboration with an artist friend of mine, Peter John Scout. And I've decided to read, the readings I'm going to do have a kind of tree theme, because that's going to be the subject of my next book. And so I've chosen the poems from the alphabet that have something to do with trees. That was a bit tricky though, because it has a lot to do with my childhood in Lincolnshire, something I share with Chris. And there aren't that many trees, so there's a few fruit trees. So I'm going to begin obviously with A for apple. Apple, pull, a tree, Alina, leans her, arp, pull, an apple, an ape, sun ap rise, across between cocks and box, her sunset, keep her, kept such red to last, such red to read. The tart start, Heartwood this year, the sun gone set, or unripe apples for supermarkets. Not my favourite, checks to come and live in caravans, pays less than factory work, leaf eaters. Whose apples? Who eats this apple? Do not snow white, do not white out my reading. Burst, let her breathe, let her choose between apple and mirror of the apple, her sewn character. And I was going to say that these are pattern poems which started out as a sort of roughly as a tree shape, sort of triangular, but it changes as the alphabet progresses. B is even less than a tree, it's a bush, and of course it's a biblical bush. Burning bush, barely burning, barely bush. Angel, flame of fire, behold the bush burned and was not consumed. Out of the midst of the bush, called to her, I am that I am. Bring them up into land whose unashamed blush brush, sporadic red rain, lost art, plastic wrappers, rarely seen splash of red breast, mate, silver grey down in the Acer. Red palmate, held against maple, age spots, dark cells and white veins. Put your hand into your breast, come out leprous as snow, come out as flesh. Do not go into another land. You are here, burning. Because I was thinking of the other bush on my way back. And this is G, which happens to have a green gauge in it. Green girl, green, given ground, prepared greensward, green word, green corn of monopalette landscape, my monochrome photo of you in a green gauge. The village divided, green dividing trunk road, grieve for the grieve, fought for the shot copse. Do not die, green-haired girl, of lank peroxide locks gone bleached. Jacket green, wellies green, eyeshadow. I like my photo of you, Greer. Your mother singing the reeve, his green, green grass. Monoculture corn, grown singing, common girls. This is H for hedge. Hedged beach, edging bets, holding east winds higher and higher, holding back the hard words of others as I herd them back to the hedge. I hedge to excess in rapid mindless clip, an arm exercise. What use is the hedge if it does not hide hedgehogs and keep the nest well hidden when we go birds egging? A heart designed in cross-stitch. This was the design of my hand, not to stitch alphabets or numbers. Through a hole in the hedge, we came home, to the stove light and darning her hello. And next is L for logs. Girls are loggerheads to the logician, pointing her long, shiny fingernails. You are wicked. Lining up the adders. Lo, go forth, find the log and multiply. A logograph is it's a riddle word which is formed of other words which make up its letters. Logograph. Obvious lemons obfuscate girdles. Fractious goodlands roster yurts. Lost outcomes grieve ostriches. Lines on, green off. Girls roll, fierce Yule. And this is the letter R, which is very problematic in English. There's a sort of bit of an absence of it, especially in the south. And I can't roll my R's. Tongue approaches teeth with trill or growl. Growl. Open voice, standard English, almost absent, vocalized to R. Here denoted by a ghost letter. Tree trunks are raked by rain. A razor realigns the leaves. We are swimming with paper aeroplanes under residual pools and discarded faces. Something is moving, amorphous, no upright epidermis. A canker has broken off. Ghost of a cartoon or a carton runs. All around the rocks, the ragged rascal. I'm going to finish these with the letter T, which should be entirely the tree, but as I say, there won't be any, so mixes things. Table, table, flat slap, test for a script. This teacher, this chair, test these desks, this blackboard, final test. I know the 10 things you must know. Another objective test. 1 tick forfeits a tried. 2 ticks forfeit. Draw long lines, twist and turn them, walk around, holding on to 2 ropes, hanging from a tree. She somersaults through 3 trunks. I stand inside the major oak. In Netherlands, table is tar full, a high tea. Pull out the leaf, extend the leaves, spread the cloth, settle the cover, lay the places. Under the table, read the red through tassels. These really are tree poems, and they're going to be in my next book coming out from Chisholm in October, which is called House for Hazel. And I'm going to begin with 3 Cumbrian poems, which will also be in the Other Room anthology. This is called Ash Hanging. There's a Neolithic stone circle called Long Meg in the Eden Valley. You find decorated trees. And of course the ash is also very important in pagan mythology. Shreds of shreds, some attachment. Green ribbon floats in the wind, is not the colour to choose if you wish to be visible. Red ribbon, that strip rarely used, jumps up above the keys, tugging off the spool. The fullness of a ribbon, bowed red in the sun. frayed threads are not for letters. What does each attachment mean? Bandaged branch, shredded black cloth, scanty covering, just his trunks to bear him up in the air, too exposed, the soft flesh. He is dangling, never knew his father. A grey trunk was the dangling man. Words on a keyring, too high to read. Hanging gold discs with red ribbons and feather. Transparent plastic discs on little metal rings. Hollow green discs, ready for a mix, ready for a short song. Pocket of keys, purse of seeds, of brown gold coins, a shower. The gusset hanging, quested, guessed. Branches. Funneled through the tunnel between the crowding trees, rook scrapes the bark. Does beak cling birch, or is it just building a hole? The whole vista reduced, cut in two, threaded by telegraph wires. Small brown bird wobbles, totters, blackbird grabs, orange berries, gropes, vertical ascent, everything has to be ascending. The copper of the copper beach dries my eyes. If you weight a branch with feeding. Last night, I dreamt she held a box of toys, small figures connected by pipe cleaners, which could be twisted in various directions. The mother and child agree that these could be thrown away. Everybody has a hungry heart. White lift, underside of ash. The trunk has breeches, bird calls, and response. If, what, so. Tree shadow on tarmac, Tower Bridge, within sight of, I could not work. The straight is always the straight, and he did not know why she chose the narrow gate. These towers hold branches in suspension. Seep, seed. No visible structure on Rotherby Road. Shadow puppets, connectives, cut out. This is Birch Migrating, and it was written in a place called Geltsdale in North Pennines. And I came across it as somebody called Martin Clark wrote a book called Geltsdale's Wood Pasture. And I'll just really quote, he says, "One birch tree is literally migrating across the site in a windward direction, and where one veteran birch has fallen, 8 healthy trees have been created as branches have converted to trunks." Birch migrating. Cuckoo. Turning away is turning toward. Birch migrated, turned several times around itself. A forwarding and backwarding, and never quite finished. New growth where it had left off. Sticks may be projected. Risers from bogland, pitted by cattle. We would need to prune when there is no need at all. It is another turning, a travel of leaves beyond, a form that is lifted and dropped. You are dark, I am fair. The resident poet was not at the pub. We do not migrate, we most migrate. Anybody who knows anything about the North Pennines might know who the rest of the poets do. This is going back to it's Colin. Colin Sims.
Oh, Colin. What for the last 30 years?
I was generally resident of the pub, yeah.
You mean not
No.
That's why you confuse me. You mean he lives up there, right? But he's lived up there for the last 100 years.
Indeed, the old man is mountain. Right, going back to the Lake District. This is Borrowdale Yews. 1. Yew sprouts, feather grass green, along all the branches. From inside the trunk, branches fold through, fold down, light green on dark green, new growth. In the riverbed it survives on white stones, opposite slabs of flood defence. Only itself to anchor, not dislodged or disfolded. Here stream, my bed is sound river. Drops vowels, you. And the second part is to do with Wordsworth yew trees. Wordsworth wrote a poem called The Yew Trees in 1803 about the fraternal four of Borrowdale. So this is after Wordsworth. Exposed white bark, white bone, starched shirt, pinstripe, oh, fraternity. In fact, the 3 ancient yews that survive are female, but you wouldn't have known that. So. The last 2 I'm going to do, I'm going to get Gavin to come and help me with. It's called Percival Wood, and it's a plantation woodland in Yorkshire, and it's a combination of the wood and a discussion that was going on about the new tests for disability benefits. And it's in fact in an online anthology called Fit to Work, Poets Against Athos. Percival Wood. Bark break, fragment, or slow space. Bark blocks separate out, molten wax, laced haste. Up come, up pluck, up string, between one conifer and the next. Uptake, a crowded leaning or leading. Leaves shine under cover, under leaf.
What is their capacity for work?
Re-establish the balance of broadleaves and conifers.
Make them lift their arms in 3 different positions.
Heavy with beech leaves.
The intermediate is the most difficult. The interrogation.
Or broken with pine cones.
But then, it's not about the function. It's about how you use the arm.
The lift of sycamore. And the last poem was written, called Burnt Tree and Tea, and it was written on the occasion of Margaret Thatcher's funeral last year.
Was it a healthy tree that someone burned?
Burnt out, broke through, harmless from any angle. Straight to camera. Never a hand to a face, never a smile to an eye, never a word to read, to reread. Seared at the last tear, reduced to bone, reduced to ash.
Really tries to get her own way by throwing a strop.
Charred bark, gone strip, took a rubber drug. Strop strap, flayed bark, they were torn off a strip. She was silenced on a bench in the upper chamber, silenced by an absence of counsel. It goes lop, lop, arms are out, arms are cut, we are armed, arms are cut. Burnt print.
What will happen to health services scattered? Will turn into private cherry picking. Up for grabs.
too. This includes the Grantham Grammar School motto, which is from Virgil, and I've used the translation I remember. A tongue-tied taught by grammar. Let our tongues take truth from this or any other place.
What would English music have been like if
Our descant on the stairs.
choir is singing a cappella pieces from the Golden?
Be in my head, be in my heart, be in my eyes, at my end, and at my departing. Burnt root, white birch,
White ash,
white cider,
white ice.
silver,